Alright, welcome to another video, and before we get started I'd like to take a quick minute to thank all the Patreon supporters and YouTube channel members whose names you see scrolling across the screen right now. They make this financially possible, and without you, I probably wouldn't be here making videos, so thank you. Alright, so today we're going to be taking a look at some video clips from a recent flight with the AR Wing Pro. You might remember a couple of weeks ago I did a review on the Walksnail V2 system with the 32 gigabytes of onboard storage and gyro flow. And in that review, we kind of pointed out that there was a problem with the onboard recordings. The video would get corrupted after a certain time in the air, kind of varied. Sometimes it would start in the first clip, sometimes in the second clip. But it basically meant that all that onboard storage that you had available was pretty much useless. Now, I don't want to say useless, but the whole point of having all that onboard storage to record longer flights and being able to use gyro flow was kind of hindered by the fact that the onboard recordings became corrupted. So it's something that Walksnail wanted to fix, and they've been working on it recently, and I've been fortunate enough to be given some firmware from them, a few different firmware versions along the way as they were working on it, and we were testing it and reporting back, at least myself and one other guy that I know of. I'm not sure how many people are involved, but I know at least two of us have been testing firmware and comparing notes and kind of giving feedback to Walksnail. And here recently they sent us a firmware that seems to have corrected all the problems. At least as far as we can tell so far, everything's fine. We've both done some bench testing. We've done some long recordings with everything set up on the workbench, and everything seemed to be working fine. So we went on. I know we've both done flights with it, and we've actually used it in the air and tested the gyro data for stabilization, and everything seems to be working fine. And real happy to see that. And so yeah, the clips that you're seeing in the background right now, that's what these are from. Like I said, this was a flight with the AR Pro that lasted about 45 minutes or so. And everything was good from start to finish. You see right now, I'm just kind of looking down at, there's some birds flying down on the trees underneath us there. But yeah, like I said, this was a good long flight. I took off and flew well after sunset. Because again, this is the V2 camera that I like so much in that review. The Pro camera with the V2 system anyway. But I took off. It was kind of low light. Doesn't look like it, but it was lower light than it looks here. But we flew out to the river here. And we actually made a couple of trips back and forth to the river, and then I flew out by town and kind of did some more stuff back at home. But like I said, I'm just kind of throwing up some quick clips along here. I'm not going to bore you with the entire flight. But yeah, hopefully this is available soon in a public release of the firmware. Personally, I think it's some great news that they've seemed to find the problem and correct it, and everything's working now. And in my opinion, I think gyro flow works pretty good too. You can see this is, like I said, it's the 1080p onboard recording, 1080p 60 frames per second, and stabilized in gyro flow. And I'm using the lens profile for the Caddx Walnut, I think is the one that they sent me and recommended I use in gyro flow. Seems to work fine. I did have some concern that recording 1080p and then zooming in on a section of that 1080p footage was going to leave your video looking less than stellar, which is something I've seen with other 1080p cameras that are trying to do the software stabilization with the video later. But this one seems to have enough resolution, enough sharpness. It still looks good in my opinion. What you're giving up in resolution and detail, you're more than making up for in the stabilized footage. At least in my opinion. But yeah, like I said, we're just kind of flying around, showing some clips of it working, and just wanted to kind of put out a little update for that. So I don't really have a lot of other stuff to post right now. I have been flying a little bit, but like I said, it's been boring stuff, just kind of playing around with RG stuff, and then testing this firmware, and up until now, everything that we tested didn't work anyway. This is the first one that does work, so thought I would just kind of put out a quick little update. Let you know this should be coming out in a public release here soon. At least we expect that and hope that. Caddx hasn't actually said that, but I'd be surprised if it doesn't. But yeah, we'll go ahead and close out with a little bit of low-level flying. We'll fly down along the roadway and over the neighbor's house, and we'll come back up the roadway. Or up the bayou anyway. Do a nice little run back to the house, and we'll end it there. So, thank you for watching this video, and of course, as always, thank you to all my Patreon and YouTube member contributions that make this all financially possible for me and let me keep buying some of the stuff that I'm using to make these videos and edit them and all that good stuff. And it just kind of makes it worth my time. But yeah, hopefully we'll see some more stuff from the swordfish coming up here soon. I want to do some more flying with it, as well as the AR Pro, obviously, now that we have all the onboard storage available and gyro flow working. I'd actually considered moving the V2 system over to the swordfish, because I've been flying it more lately. But that one seems to be all squared away. I'll probably kind of go back to just flying a mix of all my airplanes here pretty soon. So we'll be looking for something interesting to do here in the near future. Trying out new hardware, software, firmware, whatever. But not sure what we'll get up to next. But like I said, we'll try to make it interesting. So I guess that's going to be the end of this one. And just keep an eye out for what's to come in the future coming up here, whatever that ends up being. So I will see you all then. Bye for now.